So I'm recording it is May 11th, and this is the um, office hours conversations for 61668, the capstone course. I will share screen again. I can make it work properly. There we go. And we have Lance and Kelly and Darren with us this evening. So if y'all don't mind, I will just talk a little bit. I was working on this course site again today. And usually what I do the night before the course, technically tomorrow the course goes live. I'll hit publish. That's the word we use on my end. And I don't know if the system will let you all look at it until tomorrow. I don't know. It's just how it is. So I tend to set these courses up, and the way most professors do in this program, module by module, and it flows. Each module flows roughly week by week through the 7 weeks. If in the syllabus, which I touched up a little bit today, it still talks more about module 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And I haven't changed that because I'm not the only person teaching this class. And so I need to keep the syllabus essentially structurally similar to other professors. What I've started doing though is in the actual module, in the module names in the working part of it, I have backed off from naming them. It was confusing. I was talking about module 2, step 1, assignment 3. It just got confusing. I couldn't keep my mind around that. So as I work my way through this, I keep, each time I teach this course, I try to do a better job of communicating and try to make it more concise. And I keep peeling stuff out of it. And so as the modules flow here, let me move this over a little bit. And this getting started part is similar to all the other courses that you've had. You all can look at this. And at this point in your career, I'm not gonna read any of this kind of stuff. Dr. Keeney and I have tried to keep putting videos up for more information about this course. As you know, the biggest focus of this course is the performance assessment. And there are two big concepts. If you watch the other videos, I talk about this. It's taken me, I've taught this course several times now. It's taken me a little while to get my mind around how to articulate this well. And I don't know if I do or not, but there's two big concepts. One is the, well, maybe it was more than two. There are assignments in here, threaded assignments in here that are cumulative, summative for your program, and you'll see them in here, and they're threaded assignments, and like interview questions and resumes and that kind of stuff. In my opinion, relatively not stressful things to ask you to do, and so that's one concept there. As I keep teaching this class, when I first got it to teach, there was a lot of that stuff, and it was just getting in the way of the real challenge of this course is the capstone performance assessment, which serves two purposes. One, it serves more than two. It is the final, we are required to have a summative performance assessment for all our graduate programs. Well, it serves that purpose. And so you will upload your steps into this course, and I will grade them as a concept of the program and for grades for the course. And then at the end of the course, and I'll show you, I will scroll down so you can see all this also. And at the end of the course, you will have completed the performance assessment, the Missouri Professors of Educational Administration, which is the organization that DESE has tagged to facilitate this process. and you will upload a final PDF, top to bottom, one big long document of your performance capstone assessment, and it'll be in the course, and you will receive a 0 through 16 grade, which goes along with the score required for certification. You only need a 10 to pass for certification. So essentially, once you go through this, everybody gets a good enough score for certification. And I'll say it many times in here that as I grade your steps, the formative part, I'm grading them as compared to other people in the class, and as you're just meeting the rubric. When I do the final grade for your score for certification, in my mind, it's grading more compared to statewide. So I become much more rigid. Essentially, I've never scored a 16 yet, but people still get an A in the course. Okay. What I'm saying is that Dr. Keeney and I are looking for exemplars that we can share statewide. And if someone has a 16 out of 16, then we have to feel like that with that person's permission, we will share that with the other educational programs around the state. So it would need to, well, really need to hit it out of the park to score that. So I guess I'm just trying to manage expectations with that people can get a strong A in the course and still might not get a perfect score on the MPA assessment. And you've probably heard, I hope, that that there's when you want to get your Missouri assessment, I have to word that carefully because then you have to submit it for a second read, and that's when we'll add right now Dr. Keeney is a person that does a second reading. Okay, and it is awkward, I know, that the pass rates of this assessment are shared with DESE and play a role in our annual performance report for judging our department. And so in my mind, it's somewhat self-reported data. So it's much more of a formative task than people realize. I have had people resubmit steps when they just completely flounder with it. Just have them resubmit it and I score it again. So in my mind, it's more of a performance activity as opposed to a true assessment. And you will see as we work our way through this. This course has a lot of back and forth and give and take, and it's a very dynamic type of process. So, Lance, we'll need to talk about the steps with Dr. Keeney about certification. Hello, Nancy, with a certification for Kansas and how we do that. We work with Kim Hollinger, our certification officer, and we just make that work. Okay. So Nancy, can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. Now, Nancy, remind me where you live.
I'm in St. Louis in Hazelwood, Missouri.
Okay. Making a note here. Okay. Okay. So Nancy, if it's okay, I am recording this session.
That's fine.
So if there's anything that you've missed, the recording will be placed back up into the course site.
Okay.
And the course site, late tonight, I'll go ahead and hit publish on my end. I don't know if you'll be able to see it yet or not until tomorrow. Because I'm not in control of that. It basically opens when the university says it can open.
Okay.
So as we work our way through the modules, the getting started, just like all the other courses, the graduation application information. Let's see. Yeah, there's right there. Okay, that's just kind of background stuff. Um, I'll talk my way through this stuff here, and then I'll give you a chance to ask questions. Of course, the date it starts 5/12. The first module is essentially the first week, 5/12 to 5/18. And so there are videos. I have the full performance assessment document here, information, assessment exemplars. Dr. Keeney and I are still not satisfied with the exemplars that we have in here. When you look at the rubric, it is written essentially in past tense. You are asked what you did. Reflect on how you worked with your team, how you led your team, how you encouraged your team. Past tense. It's intended to be an activity that you did during the course of your program. And so once in a while, and right now with it, COVID and all that, it's kind of weird. And so we just work our way through that. So I'm not even sure that the exemplar we have here is written in perfect past tense. And so, but it lets you see the structure that helps us in our storing. So there's some background information. There's the first assignment due on the 18th, which is Monday. Basically background stuff, but this is in video format. And it's basically a threaded discussion with your first step being video, or you can video all 3 times if you want to. The way I do this, I want you to comment to at least 2 of your classmates, but on different days. So it spreads out the threaded discussion. And it's kind of contrived, I know, but it makes for a better, because if somebody just wants to do all their submissions at the last minute, it's not a threaded discussion. But what I don't say is you ought to have the first one by Wednesday, second one by Thursday. That's more contrived than I care to do it. So I just want you to comment to 2 of your classmates, but on different days. So so as we work our way down here, your on-site supervisor contract, I am aware that might be weird right now. Just email me, contact me, email me. My cell phone text number is in the contact information. Text me, that's perfectly fine. There's the observation logs right there. So essentially the first week is still a little soft. It's not a high stressor. We get down here to, there's some discussion here, and then step 1, and then your step 1 upload is due May 25. And so, let's see if this is in the rubric, and you'll see, I've taken the words out of the rubric where it says exceeds expectations, or to get full credit, because it is possible for someone to get full points. You'll just have to see it, and maybe not be exceeding expectations. I've struggled with the concept in the rubric of the words exceeding expectations anyway, because the MPEA doesn't give me a good definition to work with there. You'll see when we get into this. It'll make sense. So step 1, visionary leader document upload, and come down here. Here's the rubric. And so right now, at this point, I'm just saying for 10 points, you're just meeting the expectations. And I took some of the other language out of this. So basically at this point, meeting the expectation for 10 points for each step, each sub-step, and 40 points here. Some of these steps have more points because they're just more sub-steps, and you'll see when we get there. So I also say, remember to cut and paste the prompt at the top of each subsection of your submission. That's, as you know, that's just a standard good practice, but also helps anybody that's trying to grade it flow along with what you're doing. And you want to make it easy for the person that's grading. Frustrated graders tend to be persnickety graders. So now the way I've done this is that on the 25th is when step 1 is due. Now the week after that, step 2 is not due yet. This week here, the week 5/26/6/1 is another, soft is not the right word, but the assignments are not as rigorous as the steps, because I want to give everybody time. If I give feedback here on the step 1, time, kind of a bye week to work on that and get it perfect. As we get down here, and you can't see this yet. I have not published this yet. And so step 2 is due down here June 8. And then come down here. Step 3, June 15. Step 4, June 22. That's so later in the course is when these other steps are due. And then on down here, some final reflections, June 25 is the final full summative PDF upload. So I'm going to stop share at the moment here and go back to everybody. And we are still recording, yes. And just see what questions you have. And I'll just be quiet a little bit and let you all ask questions.
So when you said that you needed to copy and paste the prompt, that's when we're answering those questions. So we just copy and paste that top like scenario or whatever it is, and then we answer to it, right?
Yes, yes. And see that helps helps focus. Well, off the top of my head, one of them is, state the problem and what will happen if the problem is not addressed, and put that right up there, and then write to it down below. It just helps it helps it flow, and it makes it easy. It makes it easy to grade, and just a classic how to answer an essay type of question. Okay. And believe it or not, I mean, I know most people do, but there are people that didn't last time, and I was going, how do I follow this? And I had to go back and forth until they finally realized that to make it flow, that's what you need to do. Okay? Other questions? It's not loaded, it's just called wait time.
I do have a question. So if we submit like our first prompt and it is not up to par, are we allowed to like resubmit until we get a better grade into where
Yes.
we want to get? Okay, because
yes.
I've been looking at the exemplars, and I also have been asking people around that's taken this course before and kind of get an idea, so that way I can formulate something. But putting my task into it, I'm not sure if it's up to par. So that was like my thing, is making sure that I can resubmit.
Yeah. And you'll see them in the language. I intend to be rather brutal the first time I read your stuff, which I think that's kind of a blunt word, but it kind of is. Just to say, okay, you need, I need this, and you find that, and it's a classic thing. If you help people get off to a really good, solid, strong start, the rest of it just kind of falls into place. So again, this is designed. It was designed, is designed. Hopefully, you've been working on this concept for a couple months. Okay. And I always say that, and somebody goes, "Oh my God, I haven't been." And now here we are in Corona. What are we going to do? Well, then you have to write it. Then you have to write it future tense. What you will do, but you'll see that that's not how the rubric is written. So that allows me to give you a good grade in the course, but since the rubric for MPEA is written in past tense, it's hard for me to say you exceeded expectations if you haven't actually done it. So it gives us more latitude. I have a lot of latitude when it comes to the grade in the course. And I've had many people that by default had to write it in future tense and still got plenty points for certification. So I haven't had anybody fail this yet. Okay. And I try to be appropriately rigid. It's just that it's a process, and we just work our way through it. And, this is one of those things that sometimes people are probably going, oh my God. But then once we get to talking about it and they talk to other people, they realize, well, I can make it work. That's what we do. We go back and forth until we make it work. Okay.
Okay, I have two questions. The first one about the if our project isn't complete or our whatever we did isn't complete. I started on attendance. So I started at the beginning of the year, but now that we're in COVID, how can I end it?
Nancy, we will work our way through it. We will just work our way through it. It is going to be weird. And I don't have a better, more professional word than that. I tend to find that I've worked at, graduate students for a while now. I can tend to tell people that are in the groove of trying to meet the rubric, and circumstances are what they are, and I am aware we are not in. This class is difficult enough as it is when everybody's still in school. Now here we are with, the word quarantine or shut down or lockdown or whatever, and it got even more weird. So, and I am aware that people would have been planning on finishing this, and they haven't seen a live kid since the second week of March. So it's going to be what it's going to be. And again, I haven't failed anybody yet. Okay.
Okay, and my second question is the PDF that's due on the 7th week. Is that accumulation of all 7 weeks put together, or is it partly from something else also?
It's the 4 steps. And the way I put it that way, so that because you will be giving me 1 step at a time, and they're separate documents. Okay, to make it efficient for when you want to go for your certification, you'll have to have a second reader. I don't think you'd logged on when I said this. And the second reader right now is Dr. Keeney. So we have to have an efficient way for him to see all you have, and I send it to him. Actually, what I do a zip file of that whole assignment of all the students in the class. Okay, but then listen to me carefully. When it comes time for you to want your certification, you will email Dr. Keeney that attachment or an attachment of your entire document. Okay? Read between the lines here. Dr. Keeney will not go back into the course site and see what you did on early June. So a smart graduate student will go, hey, I can touch this thing up a little bit before I send it to Dr. Keeney. I won't know if you do or if you don't. I don't care. Okay? And Dr. Keeney will go off of the attachment you send him. Okay? So there's grace built all over this thing for people to do a good job, which makes the whole thing like, so then we give our scores to DESE. See how good we are? Well, yes, we are. But some of the smaller, we are the biggest leadership program in the state of Missouri, and we score well. And Dr. Keeney is a leader in the organization. Some of the really small programs have 5 or 6 students total, and they work back and forth on this for months. So it's not an assessment for them either. So it is what it is. And I figure someday DESE's going to say, wait a minute, y'all are scoring your own, and then you're giving us the data? Well, okay. But how it used to be is that there are versions of this that cost people hundreds of dollars and send it off to be scored in Timbuktu someplace. And I don't know that was any more valid than what you're doing here either. So, and when I right before I became a principal eons ago, they did something called an assessment center, where I spent $500 for 2 days of supposedly authentic activities in Jefferson City, and it was awful. And so, the state keeps going back and forth with different ways to try to assess somebody's readiness to be a school leader. And I was in the school leadership positions for, well, one way or another, 22 years. I was 19 of that, I was a secondary school administrator. And I don't know if I was particularly ready to be a principal. I was 29 years old and just jump in like green as a gourd, and you just drive ahead and do it. That's just kind of, we can, Dr. Keeney, Dr. Rich, and Dr. Singleton and I, we can help everybody that we can, but there's nothing like actually being a school administrator. And that is just the fact of life. So that's enough preaching on that. Other questions? Didn't have to be. I'm just, and I'll probably do another one of these a week from now. Okay. What I tend to do then is that when we shut down, I'm the last person to X off my machine. So if somebody has more of an individual type question, you just kind of just lag behind, and when everybody else is gone, we can. And I also stop. I stop the recording. In fact, I'll just stop recording now.